Hello and welcome, heroes, to the Crit Academy. I'm your host, Justin.
I'm your co-host, Austin.
And I'm your co-host, Ian.
This podcast was created to provide you, our heroes, with new and reusable material for both players and DMs.
We hope to inspire you with creative content that you can bring with you in your next adventure.
Our show may not be suitable for young children, but neither are our D&D games. Oh, yeah.
We did it.
So,
You changed the script, didn't you?
no, you got it right this time. But we fixed it the one episode, and then the beverage tea says, you know what? It was weird that you did it right. Go back to the old way. So I was cracking up about that in the Discord.
That's funny.
Probably true.
I am really excited for today's episode. You can see up here on the screen, just above Austin's head,
Right.
we're going to be covering Eyes Unclouded. It is a collection of adventures inspired by some of my favorite anime, Japanese animation, that came out when I was a kid from Studio Ghibli, so I'm super excited to talk about that.
I think those
today.
are all the Miyazaki movies, aren't they? Or at least a solid chunk of them are.
Not all of them.
Not all of them.
Not all of
but
them?
I think most of
Okay.
them were.
Well, I think all of them were influenced by Miyazaki films in some way, shape, or form. So.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
but they're not necessarily based on
No.
the events
Yeah,
of a
yeah,
particular one.
Some are way closer than others.
So I'm really excited for that. If you're not following us on social media or anything like that, we did just release Challenge Accepted 2. It is a standalone supplement to our Electrum bestseller Challenge Accepted, a collection of 19 skill challenges for you to drop into your stories and campaigns to give the more narrative aspects of the game a little bit of structure and
Helps push the story forward, but not just as a storytelling way, but also with mechanics involved into it. It's probably the best way I'd say.
Yeah, that's really good. And while it does include some combat scenarios, it's not necessarily focused around combat. But the best ones are the ones that are mix the combat and the skill challenges. So
Which are also probably the hardest.
yes. So I'm really excited for that. So if you've picked that up, you're planning to pick it up, thank you very much for all your support. I have to be honest, we just hit 5,000 followers on Facebook last week. So thank you to everyone who is following us and supporting our shows. You guys are truly awesome. We literally can't do it without you.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what followers do, I think.
Right? You encourage us to be better.
Right.
I even got fancy and added the image here and our little banner up here somewhere. So
somewhere like right.
yeah, getting a little better. And take it slow.
We're starting to look a little more professional every day.
Yeah,
We're really doing
We've got
it.
you all fooled.
Yep.
So awesome. If you enjoy the show and you'd like to support us in any way, head on over to critacademy.com. Check out our Patreon page. If you haven't seen our Patreon page, there's also all kinds of fat loots I'm dropping in there every month. You get some one-page adventures. You get monster variants in full professional layout form. They look awesome.
They're pretty.
Yeah, some good stuff there. So maybe check that out or pick up some of our supplements. Or, at the very least, subscribe to our newsletter to be entered to win fat loots every week.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy one to do. It's free.
Yeah,
A lot of these
nothing.
are kind of, some of these are
And
free,
the only
actually.
emails I really send out occasionally are the ones that are like when we release something, which isn't, well, it's becoming more often, but it's not that often. So awesome. We want to thank you guys for joining us today here at Crit Academy Studios, where everything's made up and your roles don't matter.
Yep, that's right. Your roles are like a Ghibli film, not directed by Miyazaki. That sucks.
Thank you for adding that. I forgot, didn't I?
You did?
Thank you. That's really good.
How's that for on the spot?
Oh, I love it. I didn't
was good,
realize I
yeah.
missed it.
I almost put in directed by the wrong Miyazaki. But I thought we'd do Savage.
So we got for our Let's Talk About Blank segment. I am super excited. Borderlands was one of my favorite shooting games.
I think when it first came out back in Borderlands 1, it was definitely like such a new and fresh thing for first-person shooters.
At the time, yeah.
Yeah, and that was I definitely have fond memories of it.
Yeah, combining the whole loot,
Almost like RPG,
Diablo loot kind
yeah.
of feel with the leveling up the weapons and stuff.
But with guns!
Yeah,
Lots of guns!
But anyways, we're not here to actually talk about that.
Nope.
In Borderlands 2, there was a bit of DLC called Bunkers in Badasses, which is a spoof off of Dungeons and Dragons, obviously. So that was one of those things that was quite the surprise for me when I first saw it. So any fans of Borderlands series will have fond memories of that when Tiny Tina introduced an in-fiction spoof of D&D. That to me was just like I was geeking out.
It's very Borderlands too. Borderlands is such a high octane, crazy franchise to begin with that this just rolled right in super easily.
And so Polygon just released an article earlier this week that mentioned that the seasoned team at Letter Games in cahoots or in collaboration with Gearbox Entertainment is turning the goof into a real tabletop role-playing game.
Giving you an opportunity to punch the initiative.
Probably literally.
Yeah. So I'm really
with everything we know, it's probably literal.
So for people like for lovers of Borderlands, this is already awesome. But I feel like this is going to be a great deviation from the traditional role-playing games because Borderlands is very much like a post-apocalyptic style feel.
For sure, yeah.
And the goal is, and it's very comedic. So I can only imagine that sort of feel is going to come through in this role-playing game.
Especially since a lot of people don't really take D&D seriously. To be honest, most groups that I ever play with, they usually like to play like joke characters or anything like that, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I'm totally all for it, as a heads up.
Depends on the group. I can attest to this.
Yes,
big time.
it does depend on the group, but usually there's always like that one person anyway who's always going to deviate super hard.
For sure.
But this
is combining that idea. Yeah, this is literally like, I mean, if anyone has played Borderlands, they know immediately, like, yeah, that sounds about right.
I want to be Claptrap now.
That'd be so funny.
Anyways,
what would you do?
I don't know.
What did you do? There's an entire DC about Claptrap rebelling.
That is
This
cool.
is true, yeah.
I didn't
Too bad.
I didn't get to play that nearly enough because,
Too bad the voice actor got fired.
What?
Really?
Which three?
What
didn't play
happened?
Borderlands 3.
There's a lot of drama. I won't get into it now. So
Fair enough. Okay. I was hoping there was like a really small thing, maybe that you did, like an allegation.
Anyway,
but nope,
so
apparently not.
players will be able to create their own characters within the world of Borderlands, and then go on adventures, included is a print version of the Borderlands 2 downloadable. According to the new releases that came out, adventures include Tiny Tina's Assault, which is the actual DLC expansion adventure thing that came out.
That's hilarious.
They do note that it's personally annotated by Tiny Tina herself, which is awesome because
fantastic.
that's one of my favorite things in the Xanathar's Guide book
that
in
is, like,
Volos, that they've got all the you've got all the little like notes on the side written from those perspectives and everything, which is really cool. It also comes with an unpublished sequel called Butt Stallion's Heine Heist. As well as the Merchant's Quest for the Wizard's Wand. Wow.
Impeccable stuff.
Wizard's Wand, I wouldn't normally think nothing of, but in this context, it's disturbing. It really is.
My character has the shiniest meat bicycle made for two.
So I'm really excited for this.
Why is it shiny? I love it. See, this is why Borderlands is great, because you can come up with the craziest shit, and it probably does not pertain to the actuality of it whatsoever.
Right.
For all I know, in Borderlands, he could be actually really meaning talking about like a meat bicycle that is literally shiny.
It very well will be.
And that it could be in the Borderlands universe.
Worse.
The meat's fresh.
Oh god, my mind is going to the wrong spot right now. So there are two versions of the games that'll be available. One at $60 that basically includes the hardback book, but then there's another one, the deluxe version, that includes the hardback book, custom dice, miniatures, and will cost around $120. Of course, those who pre-order before September 30th will get it at $99.99. So,
admittedly, not as expensive as I thought it would be
right,
for an entire set of things.
Yeah, if this image is anything to take away from it, it's got some pretty cool stuff here. But
I really like the
custom minis,
the DM board.
Yeah,
really like
but it didn't say that here, so I don't know if that.
Yeah,
I mean, I see,
but it looks.
Well, it's got to be because it's part of the game.
Yeah, I was gonna say I see it right there, and I can. It looks real, so I don't know. I mean, that is part of the. Yeah.
It's provided by Gearbox Entertainment and Letter Games. So, anyways,
that's really cool to me. I like that a lot.
This is a really cool thing. I'm really excited. I love Butt Stallion. Thanks, Cadus. I really like stuff like this. It's another role-playing game that gives a little bit different feel than the fantasy setting. Actually, I just recently got my copy of my brand new copy of Gamma World 4th edition.
Ooh, that's fun.
Which I'm excited to try to pull some people in to play that with me, because it's very much the post-apocalyptic. Make it as fun and ridiculous as you can. The last character I played years and years ago, his armor was just tires wrapped around his body. They encourage that sort of creativity.
We had one player when we played that go through 4 characters in one night.
That's not totally uncommon. Lots of death. Maybe that's probably why I liked it. I don't know.
Whereas, like, my character, I rolled crap for him, but I'm like, but he somehow survived the entire campaign. I'm like, why are you still alive?
At this point, I'm about to just run into a bomb just so I can get a new character.
well, I think what kind of helped him, though, was he did roll one of the best archetypes for the game for one of his tools, so...
Yeah, that helps. It's very cool. So anyways, check that out, Bunkers and Badasses. Head on over to critacademy.com/post/episode 188. And you can check out our show notes as well as a link directly there to the articles and the topics that we're discussing today. Mm-hmm. But before we get into our main topic, we have a gift to give away. Compliments of Loresmith.
Yeah, Loresmith, always looking out for us. But this time, it is what we usually seem to have on here recently. It is the modular dungeon tiles, but specifically it's the Arcania set, which is still the same thing. But the modular dungeon tiles, if you don't already know, are an easy way to create your own beautiful digital maps. Now, the Arcania set in specific lets you make dark, shadowy dungeon maps rich with the fumes of arcane secrets, or in this case, rich with the fumes of gunpowder, because you're probably playing Bunkers and Badasses.
Yeah.
Great.
I'm going to be expecting that from now on, just so you know.
I hope there's, like, gunpowder everywhere. It's just like, yeah, why does it smell so weird? It smells like...
sulfur.
Gunpowder?
I was actually suggesting
and then someone
that
lights
you're
a
tying
match
that
and
into
it's just...
everything.
Yeah,
that is becoming the expectation.
I try. It's
you succeed.
Not usually super hard, but sometimes some stuff gets
work.
real weird.
All right.
So I torch and find out.
Who is our winner today?
Our winner today is Lathan Moore. Lathan?
Congratulations. You are a badass.
And hopefully you're not stuck in a bunker.
If you didn't win, have no fear. You can head on over to critacademy.com/Loresmith and get a copy of your own free set of digital terrain and a bunch of other fat loots. Compliments of our boy, Chris at Loresmith.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Loresmith.
Now on to our main topic. So, Eyes Unclouded opens up very coolly with an awesome quote from Miyazaki. You must see with eyes unclouded by hate. See the good in that which is evil, and the evil in that which is good. Pledge yourself to neither side, but vow instead to preserve the balance that exists between the two. That's awesome, especially with the state of things as they are lately. It really touches home, I think.
Yeah, at the moment for sure.
Maybe a little too much.
So we each kind of picked some adventures out of this fantastic collection. I want to read one of the little intro bits about the book before we get into that, because I thought it was it really gives you a sense of why they created this product. And the team is huge. I'm not going to name all their names. Mostly because, well, I can get a link right here. I can probably shout out at least a couple.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, it's a.
I'm sure
this
there's
is a big
plenty.
group here. So,
yeah.
That's a lot. Yeah. So
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
you can look up the
There's about like
names
8 names on there. It's
at
fine.
least.
A dozen at least.
It starts with, we may be biased, but we feel comfortable stating that the works of, is it Hayao Miyazaki have an above-average density of lessons for how to be a better human being.
For sure.
Regardless of the age you're fortunate enough to experience them, these lessons form a sort of curriculum. This curriculum shows us that it's noble to have respect for your planet, and sometimes you need to step up and defend it. It says that women can do anything, and that nothing is as important as believing in yourself. It says that magic is everywhere, if you know where to look. Even if tanuki are straight up terrifying, there is some wisdom in taking those lessons with us wherever we go.
And some of you who watched Ghibli films know why I groaned.
Do you want to explain for those that didn't?
No.
Okay. Anyways,
No.
So this intro to their book really gives you an idea of what their focus is and why they chose to do this product.
For sure.
And honestly, I'm not going to lie, this is one of the more expensive books that I've bought on DM's Guild. And I usually don't don't tend to buy adventures too often, mostly because I get so many sent to me and to be on the show or be covered or reviewed that I don't need to. But this is something I specifically wanted to talk about because I love anime and I grew up on some of these.
For sure.
Princess Mononoke.
I think all of us have here. Right?
In some capacity, yeah.
Yeah.
Princess Mononoke, Howl's
Very
Moving
good one.
Castle. There's just some good stuff, and so I wanted
Kiki's
to
Delivery Service was a really good one too.
I really like that.
I think
one
that's
too.
the one I actually got to cover in the tier 1s. I was like,
Oh, did you?
I'm pretty sure that's what it was. If it's not, I'm very surprised.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Mononoke may have been the first one I've watched. Or was it Spirited Away?
Spirited Away, really, that one
Spirited Away
really
was
got
really
me.
good.
Yeah. Anyways,
Yeah.
so if you haven't checked them out, we highly recommend them. They're, they stated here in their Eyes Unclouded book,
Maybe it was
there's
Spirited Away.
lots of lessons to be learned from those series and all about not being a dick.
Yeah.
And I like, too, how a lot of films don't have a clear bad guy.
Yes,
Yes.
that's huge.
And
Like,
That-
even when
go
there's
ahead.
multiple sides in conflict, it's like, I can actually see where both sides are coming from, so I'm not sure who to root for.
and that's usually the sign of a very good antagonist anyway in
Yeah.
any sort of like medium. So what that is a very good point. That there's usually not a very clear bad guy. Like even in No Face, who everyone assumes is like this like really awful character because it literally starts consuming people. Well, you kind of start feeling for the guy because it gets really lonely and it actually starts to follow the protagonist.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're just like, man, that's
See, you touch on a good point that I think makes these, not only these adventures, but those stories as well, is you can relate to what's going on. Mm-hmm. And that's sometimes pretty hard because we're not superheroes, you know?
and we're not in like this weird fantasy setting where it's cool because these fantasy settings feel believable. And I think that is a huge thing on its own.
Yeah, can we just take a second to appreciate the beautiful artwork?
Oh, for sure. Very,
I absolutely love it. I think that...
very light colors.
Yeah.
I liked them a lot.
What I don't know, is that pastel? Is that what it is? Let me see if I can find a
Probably
good one.
And some of them,
pastel.
yes.
Yeah. I guess I'd call it pastel.
But they look gorgeous. It's super beautiful.
For sure.
So the first one we're going to talk about is one Austin picked. Do you want to touch on this a little bit? Give
So
us your thoughts.
I liked it to begin with because the first few things you actually get to see, which is delivery, which is apply within, which it's adorable, by the way, because I can just imagine like a big old brute berserker guy. And he's like, yes, you're a delivery witch. He's like, huh? Is there a better title for this? No, you're a delivery witch. Here's a broom and a cap. Okay, guys.
That's funny.
Am I pretty?
You're pretty. I would say you are.
So to start off, this adventure is one, the art is cute. I love the cat.
Yeah, the cat with the little
With the
help
little-
wanted
yeah.
scroll in his mouth.
But one thing that I really liked at first was you could start with a small adventuring party. You don't need a big one. You can do it with just 2 people and a DM.
Okay.
And I was very impressed by that because that's not usually a big thing in
Okay.
D&D. Usually you kind of need like a squad of 4 and you're kind of pushing it with 3 sometimes and it's like
Right.
you just and they even had a failsafe where if you had a larger one you could split the party into separate groups and they would both do different deliveries. And I
That's
thought that was
cool.
also
that is very cool. I like that. Because that's one of the things you don't see a lot of is the mantra is don't split the party. Here you have an adventure that if the group's big enough, it encourages you to do that, and it handles it pretty well.
And there's even like the recommended challenges that the party will run into. Usually they're very comical and pretty lively. Like I think one of them was like there's like some rivals that are like trying to deliver stuff as well, and you guys are trying to get to the same
Get
place.
there first.
Yeah, some weird fun stuff, which is very Miyazaki in spirit. And it is par for the course as you kind of get through. There's also a very iconic moment where you're supposed to pull a bicycle out of a person.
There's your meat bicycle.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a little weird. But again, it was just, you just did it with like it's that one scene where you see the little girl, she's like pulling the bicycle. I'm pretty sure it's out of like the weird like sludge looking monster, and like she pulls it out, and then the mud just starts spraying everywhere as it was like just
They
like
put it back
clogged everything. Well, in this, they did it by you just have to do a simple little strength check, and then you have to do a dexterity saving throw afterwards, because you know no one's gonna expect you to just pull out this one. There's a bicycle and a sludge monster, and two, you have to dodge the excess explosion that's coming out of it. And I was like, that's kind of funny. I like that.
And it's cool because the one thing I noticed about this is a lot of the little things, like the one with the airship that I'm looking at here, where you have to deliver a kid his little toy, but then it's a model and it needs to be assembled and it can't fly without magic. So the players are encouraged to help this kid sit and build his little thing, and they give you checks for that, and then imbue it with magic with an arcana check. That is such a fun and cool way to have an encounter. There's not really a villain or anything.
And it doesn't even force you into it. You want to actively participate in it. That
like,
is another really good thing about it. Like, I'm pretty sure even how the adventure starts, you don't actually have to even accept the adventure, because it's just a help wanted. You can just...
Yeah, you can.
No, I don't want to, sorry.
We'll come back to it later.
Yeah.
Or, did you hear about that kid who ordered a toy and the guy tried to help him, but neither of them could use magic, so now it just sits there.
It's just like, I don't really know what's going on. It's like, well, I got you your toy. Unfortunately, we don't know how to make it fly. And then you could probably just like write it off, and the kid would probably be like, okay, and then probably do something else. Like it. Or if you had a larger party, maybe you could call back the other party to make those checks. And
I like that.
Again, it's so simple because you're all just working for this delivery service, and so you're all technically still part of a team. And I like how, I guess, inclusive it all feels with everything.
I would agree with that.
You're not really forced into it, but you don't even feel forced into it. You want to actively participate.
Yeah. And I like that there's not very many that are about fighting.
No,
it's mostly
there's not.
Skill based. There, don't get me wrong, there is a mimic and some other things that happen, but for the most part, it's just these are some encounters. What's cool is you could easily take these templates and once you've run them, easily change out a few things here and there and regurgitate them later.
And if you just kind of have tables that you roll on, so you can have
Yeah.
basically a different adventure each time as a result.
Yeah, for sure.
Overall, I thought this was really cool. I think you came to some great conclusions. Was there anything else you want to touch on before we move on?
I just wanted to say how it kind of ends on this like beautiful note, whether or not you succeed or fail. The person who essentially hires you, even if you failed at everything, they say, well, we appreciate the help that you tried anyway. And they're not even like disappointed or depressed or anything. They just say, things happen. Like, and that's again, life. Another good thing to take away from this. And you can definitely see how being in a delivery service can be a jarring and scary experience, but oddly fun and mystical in the world of spirits. Also, the reward is pretty nice too.
Yeah, don't you get a flying broom?
You get a little broom to fly on you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's cool.
Does everybody get a broom, or is there just one broom and you all gotta share it?
I'm pretty sure everyone gets one.
That's still pretty cool.
I mean, like, come on, you're
fighting
a
over
witch.
a broom.
Come on. I want my barbarian witch to have a broom.
Yeah. So I think that was a good choice. This really shows the thought that went into it, all the little details, and you can have great stories and great encounters without
combat.
Yeah, without necessarily just an upright villain. I mean,
there's no clear bad guy in this whatsoever. It is just you doing some stuff for a kid and a couples for other things, and there's some weird shit that goes on, and you kind of just move on, and you guys are done. It's great. It's pretty good. I really liked it.
Yep. All right, Ian. And now, this just to be clear, I don't think we touched on this. They have many, like 4 or 5 adventures at every tier, right?
Mm-hmm.
For tiers 1 through 3, yes.
So nothing from 15 to 20, but we each picked one of these adventures to talk about.
And also the one that Austin picked is based off of Kiki's delivery service.
Yeah.
So
hence delivery witches.
Yeah.
All right, Ian, you had the second tier. So of the second tier, which one did you pick?
Now, I'll admit, I did go back and forth between 2 in particular, which I'll admit must be a compliment to this supplement, because I've been going back and forth between a couple to even pick in the first place.
It's probably a good one, yeah.
Like, I'll admit, the one I passed on was based off of, had like parts from several Miyazaki movies, and the fun part too was, if you played your cards right, the player characters could have ended up potentially with their own mobile fortress base thing that they could teleport to.
That sounds awesome.
What?
Yeah, it's cool.
What on earth? That's awesome.
The one I picked, though, is called In the Heart of the Thicket. And this adventure takes very strong inspiration from Princess Mononoke, and it's intended for 4 level 8 adventurers.
Interesting. So this one actually does go back to the 4 adventurers format. I like that. Okay. I like how they specifically stated a level as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Very cool. Also, Princess Mononoke is probably my favorite.
You win. You win the internet.
Well, for me, it'd be Howls, but anyway.
No, that's fair. Yeah, you could say any of them are your favorite, and I would just say no. That's fair.
I can see it.
You're fine.
So what is it? What do you like about this adventure here, Ian?
Well, this one takes place in the fortified village of Weldstone at the edge of a magical forest, which has been slowly succumbing to corruption, which started after the forest god disappeared.
Sounds like Princess Mononoke.
Yeah, and that happened 100 years earlier, kind of thing too. And top
So
of that,
it's been happening, and this has been getting
So
progressively
this is like
worse.
a slow growth.
oh, not only that, but as a result, they've the growth of the village itself has been stymied by the fact they've been constantly attacked over this patch here by corrupted creatures,
Okay.
which also appears to be led by a giant demon wolf. Once again, very Princess Mononoke.
Yes.
The local military has given aid here and there occasionally, but it wasn't until recently where they finally committed a full force. And their half of commander, who is very well regarded, even said he carries a means to deal with said wolf, which is believed to be spiritual in nature, and hopes to purge the threat once and for all with this little military force.
Okay.
And he also has heard in the force itself of a relic called the Seed of Life, which he hopes will not only end this conflict, but many other future conflicts. So that's kind of his motivation for going on this adventure.
So this is cool because I know there's more, but
Oh, yeah.
this is cool because you're getting some good expanded story there.
Yep.
Hey, I'm helping this because I want to also help with this other thing.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
I also like this because even still now, the characters don't have to be called to action.
Okay.
At this moment, they
Yeah.
are
True.
not called to action.
Yeah.
They only have to help because of the goodness in their heart, and that is impressive.
Until the part where when you said military commander, he will actively recruit adventurers.
Well, then that makes sense.
Okay.
But it's not a what's the word I'm looking for? It's not a you're not like extorted to get in there. You're just
Right.
told,
Right,
hey, we're
right.
accepting people, and of course you're gonna be like, well, yeah, I want to help this village.
Oh,
That's
money?
cool.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, money. Yes.
All right.
And there's a small young human druid who is also sensitive to the voices of animals, who everybody writes off as she's nuts, ignore her, but he's like, no, there's more to this than what you guys believe.
Right.
That reminds me of the small little wolf girl, who is the other protagonist of this movie.
And I like this adventure because it has a lot of layers to it, and the players are given the opportunity to learn more of the local area as you go through it.
Very
and
cool.
it also touches on minor deities, which can be used to enrich
That's
the
nice.
world in itself. And the way they portray the deities, you can have empathy with them, but at the same time, they're clearly displayed about how different they are from mortals, if you will, how they view the world differently, which makes sense.
Yeah, you don't get into that too often, so
No.
that's a pretty cool
Yeah,
take
not
on it.
usually.
And there's a lot of layers and various degrees of morality involved too. That does make you think here and there too. I was like, wait, what do I do? Who do I help? Why do I help?
Yeah, and see, I'm big on morality, so I really I'm on board with this.
Very, very cool stuff.
And you also discover as you go through this adventure, there's way more to the story than you thought.
Which is also very Miyazaki.
Yep.
There's usually a lot more. Kudos to the people who had to like essentially translate this into D&D, because I can't even imagine the undertaking of how to
Right.
make it feel like this believable world, and you're crunching down this 2-hour movie into an adventure.
And I will admit, I feel like this one is a, relatively speaking, more direct adaptation of the film, at least compared to the ones I've read. So,
Right. But it was also not a bad. They did a good job with that
No,
transition.
it looks
quite a
like they
bit.
did great.
So
Do one of the players get infected with a weird, cool demon arm?
the hate curse thing, is that what that is?
the players don't.
But
Ooh, someone does though.
and that obviously becomes a moral
It's honestly more like a-
situation where this person is changing, and it's nothing that they did wrong or anything like that. It's just, how do you deal with that? I mean, the quick answer is and they're done. But
Or
they're
even
innocent.
or even as druid I mentioned, she can hear the voices of animals, which no one
true,
else does, and she keeps trying to tell people, no, it's not their fault.
Right. but everyone doesn't see it that way because
No.
they don't have that sensitivity.
And
So
they're
I
just
love stuff like that.
And let's face it, they're trying to protect their lives. So
And I totally is there a character who stands out very much like a Gaston type of person where he thinks he's doing the right stuff, but he's out there slaying these beasts who aren't really at fault?
I would kind of give it to the military commander, but at the same time, it's like you can't really fault him for what he's trying to do either.
Right, because he is trying to protect people, which, admittedly, that's what Gaston was doing.
Even if he was kind of an arrogant dick about it.
Yeah. So.
Again, but it's even though like the attitude of that guy is clearly misplaced. Like he's very, I guess, like a heavy prejudice against these issues. He's still at the heart of it all. He's just trying to protect like the town he is associated with, which is tough.
Gaston or this character? Okay. Had I clarify?
Are they both that way? Or very similar?
I would not say he's as arrogant as Gaston is.
Oh, I would certainly play him that way, though.
But yeah, it's
Look
just,
at my shiny muscles.
let me show you my shiny meat bicycle.
Bicycle, huh?
Yeah, it's a bicycle. I promise. Two can ride.
No. Okay, so do you have any other comments on this? I mean, there's a lot of layers to this, as you said. There's a lot going on. A lot of moral ambiguity.
Yes.
I would like to talk more about it, but I'm not sure how I can speak more without giving away spoilers.
Right,
so.
and we want people to check these out. The goal is to give you an over idea what we thought of what we read and the contents of it.
Yeah.
Because remember, there's about, I don't know how many adventures are in here, but I would say there's at least 15, right? 4 or 5 for each.
I want to say 12.
There's 12? Okay.
Yeah, I'm still. What I really liked about this one in specific, well, one, Princess Mononoke, hell yeah. But beyond that, what I really enjoy about it is that even though there seems, well, let me put it this way: depending on how the DM portrays it, the players could see maybe that there is a clear antagonist, and they could very well be thinking that it is the humans who are actively, taking this druid girl away from telling her everything's right, that they could view as the entire like populace as the antagonist. But I feel like if you're going to run this adventure, a DM looking at this and who has actively read through all of it and made sure they kind of get the idea and that they've watched Miyazaki films would understand that the idea isn't that they're doing this out of like pure hatred. They're doing it because they want to protect themselves, and I really hope people do that because that would be this would sell that adventure so much harder.
Right.
And I'll admit, I do feel like there is a right way to win this adventure, if you will, but depending on how the players go through it, it may or may not be readily apparent either.
Right.
So,
And that's another thing too, is because your players, depending on what they're running, they might not even, like in character, be able to make that kind of decision, and that could lead to another assortment of problems. Like, what if there's like any evil character, I guess, right? Why would they want to do any of this? Why would they actively want to help these people? Why would, aside from the simple fact I could do it because I'll gain renown and I will gain more status and power with these people? I mean, you could do that if you were running an evil character, but even then, like, a lot of these are tied to the fact that you're doing this out of the goodness of your heart, and when you're playing an evil character, you don't really do that.
Right, at all.
So I could see some issues in certain groups, but I again, like that, you could still work around that anyway, and you don't have to be an asshole to play an evil character. I'm sorry. That's on you if you're playing an evil character and you decide to be a dick to everybody. But
I also do believe you can definitely roleplay your character as a dick, but doesn't mean you actually behave as a dick.
yes.
Yeah.
And that's just
All right.
very wonderful adventure.
So that's
sounds anyway.
Yeah. So that's the In the Heart of the Thicket, inspired by Princess Mononoke.
How many combats? How many times for combat did it have? Because
That
we started at
definitely,
8th
I
level.
think that one had more than the other ones.
I would say there's like at least 2 that were unavoidable, but there was quite a few tables you roll on too, so that could
Which
impact
could
that number.
impact how
Interesting.
many, yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
I recently started. I've been doing
No, 3 that are unavoidable, but you
I
get
did
the point.
the I do the 1-page adventures for our patrons, and I recently started doing random encounter tables, and I found I have a lot more fun by making some of them just not straight up like combat encounters.
Yeah.
Like random shit like you roll on it and the earth splits open and somebody might fall in. That's it. Not really a combat encounter. Nothing. And I've been having a lot of fun with that. So those are starting. I used to hate those because all the ones I ever saw were just here's a combat, here's a combat, here's a combat. Well, no, I don't want that.
I still remember one time we were going through with a different group a randomly generated dungeon, and one of the things that we randomly rolled was he came across a mercenary sitting in the middle of a room, and he actually talked to us first before he engaged in combat. And at one point, talking to him like, so how much would it cost to pay you for you to not see anything?
Right, so
I don't know what you're talking about. 20 gold.
I like that. That's funny.
Pretty good. I like that.
So sometimes you can make that work.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so for tier 3, I chose a Wealth of Flames. I'm a huge fan of Howl's Moving Castle. The inspiration of this fantastic movie is clear as day in this product. The adventure is laid out very well. It begins with a party being invited to an Emprion Spires to investigate a mystery in the Wizards' court, right? So that's already very different than what I've ever run as an event as a DM.
Sure, yeah.
During the investigation, they learn that the Wizards have traded away their hearts in deals made with Flame Wraiths, a race of fire demons. Oh, that's awesome.
I like that.
The greed amongst the wizards allows the dark and insatiable creatures to manifest and slaughter many of the court. The party must then venture into the Starscape, another plane or dimension or whatever you want to call it. And in the process, they must venture into the Starscape, this other dimension. After learning the Demiplane's history, they face the jaws of avarice in combat or in peace to save the wizards' hearts.
Interesting.
Court politicking is one of my personal favorite things. I'm not, unfortunately, super great at running it.
Yeah. I can.
Wow.
It's
thanks.
hard.
No.
I'm like, damn, that was bad.
No, as in, I appreciate it too, but I also suck at running it or interacting with it.
Yeah,
so.
you suck is what I got from that.
It's
not what I was going for.
It is a very hard thing to do because you, as a DM, are already keeping track of so many things and what your players can do, and then you're trying to add this whole world of mess of just nonstop backstabbing and deception. And trying to make sure that players don't understand everything immediately. It's just, ugh.
Or even when you try to do some like double talking, if you will, the players might take it a completely different way than you intended, causing another direction.
That's happened to me quite a few times. So I really like this because of the politicking, and what makes that fun for me about this adventure is the interacting with so many different characters with so many different goals and motivations. Conversations become the focus of this adventure, and it's so fun to be able to learn the petty differences between the wizards in the court setting, from personal grudges to like full like house on wars or whatever. The adventure captures the building of tension very, very well. Something that is, in my opinion, very hard to do.
Right.
And that tension leads up to just a final encounter with the big bad, which once again is in another dimension that you end up having to learn all this story and lore about. Which one of you mentioned earlier about how yours has a lot of lore building. I don't know who that was, but
yeah, I think it was, yeah.
That to me is just is awesome because once again, that's not something I personally as a DM am super good at. To have an adventure that helps pull on that and make me better is something that I just fell in love with immediately. And more than that, the encounter with the big bad isn't just something that needs to be solved with sword and spell. There are other ways out of the problem with this monster,
for sure,
beast creature thing.
And it's not really an easy thing to do. I mean,
right.
you have to create a reason for the players to just talk with this person, right? And being able to build this kind of lore and to kind of and like this like trust with other characters and like building all these reasons to kind of realize, hey, we don't have to kill this thing, is especially when it could be this very terrifying beast, but but because of all the things you've gone through, you realize that this is a very intelligent creature and that you could very well reason with this thing.
Yes, and I like stuff like that.
That is very difficult to do. It's like trying to talk with Xanathar. You don't just simply talk with Xanathar. You know who Xanathar is before you talk to him.
Yes. And that's kind of how you guys feel right now with the Descent into Avernus campaign we're running. You guys know about Zariel. You've done the research. You've learned not only as players, but in the story as characters. Even more so as we've been, the story's been moving along. You're building knowledge of this encounter, and you learn that because she used to be an angel, and now you've got this her friend with her. There might be an alternative there to just instead of just trying to kill her. And I think this adventure or this adventure does that really well as well. The one thing that I got to give them a lot of credit to is they actually have a section called Navigating the Court, which gives you all the different details of how to get your players to mingle with the NPCs and their goals and all that stuff, and try how to dig into it, which I think is a good guide for somebody like me who's not used to running that sort of adventure style. So I feel like this will make me a better DM after reading through it. I actually plan to run it at some point for our patrons, but overall I was really impressed by this. The one thing I thought was really cool, and I wouldn't have thought of it unless I was a player during this, but they actually give you rules if one of your spellcasters decides they want to form a pact with the flame wraiths and give away their heart for more power. And
I'd so do it.
Yeah, I bet.
I was like, are you kidding me? There's no downside. You can't stab me in the heart anymore. I win.
Okay.
There's nothing but a flaming hole there. I win no matter what.
Man, that's funny.
Oh, give you an optional ability. Once a day, you can choose a critical hit to become a regular hit. Ha ha! I have no heart there. Suck it.
You just look
Beautiful.
down. It's like those the Aaron car, the hollows in Bleach, when you just stab them right. There's nothing there, you know.
Yeah, you just missed. But what did it?
Awesome.
Can we actually see what it does? Like, what happens if you take this pledge?
there is some details.
So that was a cool map.
Yeah, they got the map is beautiful. It's very starry and shit.
Wow, that is
whoever did it did
awesome.
a really great job. I really like it. It's got kind of like floating islands and shit. But anyway, so whereas here, so the pact with the flame wraith pact. Now there is some risk that comes with this. It is very much a give and take thing, but
as it tends to happen.
if somebody is willing to make a pact with a flame wraith, they gain some. I'm not going to go through all of them because if you want to check those out, you can just pick up the supplement. But we'll talk about a couple of them. A spellcaster gains the following features. This one is Fuel of the Fire. When you cast a spell or a cantrip, you can choose to siphon excess energy to the flame wraith by expending an additional spell slot of first level or higher. And if you do, reduce the flame wraith's exhaustion level by 1. When you expend a spell slot of second or higher, you get to give the flame wraith gains 1d8 temporary hit points for each slot above. So you're basically giving up your own power to buff this elemental creature.
Interesting. So is it like with you?
Yes.
It travels
it's
with you?
It's like, to me, as far as I can tell, it's like another character.
Holy shit.
So, at least that's what I'm taking from this.
Okay.
There are modifications and stuff for certain monsters and stuff, but, like, so here's another ability called Let It Burn. As a reaction, when your companion makes a spell attack, which is your flame wraith.
The flame wraith.
You add 2d6 fire damage to the damage roll, to 1 damage roll of that spell against the target, and you gain a level of exhaustion.
Holy shit.
So it's punishing, but the fact you now have this extra
Almost
powerful
like,
entity with you. And I'm just now drawing correlations to I've been working with the patrons to build a new wizard archetype, and we built what's called the arcane the School of Binding, and we used it to bind mephits to the caster. So this kind of reminds me, this is very more strong, it's much stronger, and is far more punishing, but is very cool nonetheless.
Yeah.
Lots of good stuff.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's more details than that. I don't want to get into it because this is almost like a whole nother
archetype.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm looking at it.
Or it's
very
an
much
enhancement
so
to an archetype you already have, and you get all these new things. So
you can just make 2 packs. That poor
that'd be a hell of a warlock.
Yeah, your warlock's having a real rough time. Yeah, I made a pact with a devil, and also I made a pact with a flame wraith. I'm having a rough time, guys.
Right?
Well, what do you
Oh,
mean?
excuse
I'm
me.
really wigging out. It's like his soul's being ripped in half. It's like, oh yeah, he's not having a good time.
I'm hearing more and more voices in my head, and they're not the usual ones.
Oh no. But yes, overall, the art is absolutely fantastic, beautiful. The monsters are really cool. There is one thing I want to touch on in here. So, in this adventure, they talk about some of the treats and stuff that are in the court, that they feed the court, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of them is called the Empryon Spiced Almond Eclairs. Now, if you're really fancy and good in the kitchen, they give you some recipes for you to bring to the table and really bring that experience to your players. And that is just the coolest thing ever.
I feel like they included recipes with each adventure, didn't they?
Did they? Oh, I didn't notice that.
They did in all the ones I read.
Oh, maybe they did, and I just didn't notice. I picked up on this one because I read through the whole thing thoroughly.
That sounds really good.
And yeah, it sounds like a donut.
Really good, yeah.
Sugar-filled donut.
Jeez.
There was one that had candy, I think, is like a buff food, which I think we've talked about on the show that I want to do, which I thought was pretty dope. So,
Oh yeah, the adventure I picked had the vegetarian rice bowl. Pass.
I'll take
big
the
donut, Claire. Yeah. I do want to give a huge shout out to the cover artist. Is it Auri Cavendish?
Yeah.
I absolutely loved the cover art. It was gorgeous. I mean, all the art inside is beautiful,
Yeah,
but
it's just
they
right.
couldn't have picked a better cover piece. So once again, you can see it right here.
Yep, that's right. Somewhere
Over
up
here
here, I think. Yeah.
But definitely, you guys need to check that out if this sounds like something you want to. It's definitely a swerve from what you normally would see in kind of a Dungeons and Dragons setting. But sometimes those
It's a
are good.
lot softer, I think
Yeah.
is a word for it.
I
It's
like all
not
that.
because like D&D, you're usually thinking of like
Who's on my go?
you're thinking of Dungeons and Dragons. You're thinking of taking your gigantic great sword with your barbarian friend and your sork in the back, and you're saying, "I'm gonna kill this giant beast." This is not that.
No, right.
Well, okay, occasionally, rarely it might be that, but it's not.
It's not what it's all about.
Yes.
So yeah. So I think.
Wonderful. I liked it.
Do you guys have? Do you have any more comments on that?
No.
All right, that'll do it for our main topic, Eyes Unclouded. Please, if this sounds like something you want, check it out. Head on over to critacademy.com/post/episode 188, and you can find our show notes, and there's a link right in there for you. If Ian would be awesome enough to drop that into chat, that would be fabulous, using the link inside of our show notes.
Scroll back up.
All right, so before we move on to our Unearthed Tips and Tricks, our final segment, we have another gift to give away, compliments of Jeff Stevens. The Scourge of the Nightingale, a masked menace terrifies the region, raiding villages to fund her devious plans. Unknowingly, the adventurers stumble into her most recent evil scheme, the kidnapping of a famous performer known as Devon Artis. Their mission is to deliver a ransom and collect Devon, though, as in most cases, not all goes as planned. Yes. This is a great 3-part series. Jeff Stevens' shit is just amazing. You gotta check his shit out. It's really great.
He's always pumping out amazing content.
Oh, and he's got some of the top tiered writers on his payroll, man. I'll tell you what. Our winner today is Mr. H. Johnson 82. Woo! Congratulations.
You did it, buddy.
You're the one. If you enjoyed the adventure, please leave Jeff Stevens a review. Let him know what you like about it. Tell him you got it from our show and all that jazz. Of course, he knows already, so I guess you don't need to tell him that. If you didn't win, have no problem. Head on over to critacademy.com/Jeff Stevens and get Villains and Layers 3 and Encounters on the Savage Seas 3 for free if you have not already. Those are some amazing collections of awesome.
They're pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you got to go there. It's free. You may as well.
Good stuff. All right. Now we're done with the fat loots. We move on to our Unearthed Tips and Tricks, where we bring you new and reusable material for both players and DMs.
Which is debatably the bigger of the fat loots here, actually. Because it's free, and you get new stuff literally every week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was checking to see if the door is open because I see a critter flying around in here.
Dang
I was like,
mosquitoes.
are we good?
No, we're good. So who would like to take the character concept?
You want to do it?
I
You want me to
got
do it?
this.
You got it?
This. He's
All right.
cracking his fingers.
He's like, hold up, guys.
I got this.
The Fate Singer. The song of heroes resonates in your soul. Until you join the chorus, you share the wonder of its music with the world.
I wouldn't call it music, but it's close enough.
Good enough.
It's called death metal. And it's beautiful.
It is gorgeous.
Okay, then.
Oh, shit.
In the darkest days of the divine war against the primordials, when those agents of oblivion seem fated to tear down the divine works and unravel creation itself, the gods' heralds joined voices and spurred mortal champions to fight back. Their song made heroes of common folk, giving them the resolve to stand fast against the tide of the enemies around them. These early heralds live on still in the legends and tales of their descendants, and without their emboldening song, the world might have come to an end. You have studied the Song of Heroes, and you know all the great champions still hear its melody. They may not be aware of it, but at some point, like you, caught a faint note of it. The distant strains of this ancient song, hidden in an uplifting tune, perhaps, or half remembered in a stirring call to action, provides the inspiration that mortals need to rise above the mundane and become legends.
Love it. That was epic,
was good.
dude. Good delivery. This is actually from the D&D 4th edition Player's Handbook 2, the Fate Singer. I don't know. I don't remember if it's like a class.
Good.
Yeah, it sounded awesome. So one thing I've learned is that you can take old content from other games that are either like archetypes or backgrounds or any and turn these into character concepts, and this one was just awesome. This to me, you would think that immediately what comes to mind is a bard,
Yeah, I was going to say, immediately you would think bard.
but you don't have to.
Nope.
There are other classes. I actually think that this would be a really cool change of a cleric who focuses on blessings, like the Shield of Faith, who gives it to
one.
other people through their chanting and stuff like that. What do you guys think?
I have a couple that I could work with that is so left field.
Let's hear it.
I was thinking a warlock
Okay.
with the patron of either the Undying, because you're hearing the heroes of old, and that is your undead
That's
patron.
cool. I like that.
Or you could do the patron of whatever the angel one is, the patron of the celestial, and that's
Sounds
like
right.
them who are like trying to like bestow their power on you, and since you already gain abilities to give it to other players, that works as well.
Oh, that is cool.
That was
I like
my
that. I
two.
didn't think about that.
He lost his mind. Can he say or is he blind?
That's like a spoof of an Ozzy song?
I love it.
That is an Ozzy song.
Oh, is it?
That's great.
Iron Man.
Oh, God, I can't understand what he says.
I mean, that's true. Man's been on so many drugs, it's surprising he's still here to this day.
Yep, just play some Dark Paladin who just hears death metal music 24/7.
But overall, I think this is a fun character concept. While Bard comes to mind, you're not limited to that in any stretch of the
Absolutely not,
imagination.
yeah.
Any character that can grant any sort of buffs to other people, blessings, for instance, with
Honestly,
the cleric.
even like a battle master fighter and giving like commanding strike and
Oh,
stuff, you could even do
yeah.
something like that. It is so
That is cool.
good on 4th edition Player's Handbook 2 over here, because man, they got some stuff that's in there that you could just translate over real well.
The lyrics, they tell me what to do next. My enemy, you have been thunderstruck.
Oh, God. Get the hell out of here right now with that.
The door's to the left. It's not very far.
All right, I think that'll do it for our character concept, the Fate Singer.
It's a pretty good one.
Yeah, I
like that one a
fell in
lot.
love with it when I read it. There's a whole lot more that I cannot wait to cover. I mean, this one had a lot more text because it had to describe what the
Yeah.
Song of Heroes was before you could actually have the character concept.
Uh-huh.
But anyways, our monster variant today is the Agent of Treachery. When destroying enemies, most think of using brute force. To some, that means swinging a large axe with as much muscle behind it as you can muster. Others, it may be how much magic can be brought to bear. To kingdoms, how large of an army you can muster. There are some that prefer more subtle means, instead of breaking enemies, to unravel them by tugging at threads. The agent of treachery is an adept of the arts of manipulation, choosing to turncoat their enemies against their allies when it best suits their needs. This makes them powerful assets of subterfuge. They can use their magic to create illusory appearance, taking on forms of those that they can help leverage their treacherous goals.
Have you ever played Among Us?
I've not.
It's pretty much what this is.
Is it really?
You're an imposter, and you're always trying to throw information off, and you're trying to kill everybody on the ship. Have you ever played like Mafia or like Werewolf or Town of Salem?
No.
It's any of those like social
Clearly, I don't
deception
play very cool
games.
No,
It's
I've
like a
never played
social
those.
deception game, and that's all it is. And that's what this monster variant reminds me of. It's very
cool.
Among Us is very popular.
He
right
wrote
now.
that, the description. I just made the monster.
Yep.
Was that inspiration at all?
Nothing from anything in particular.
Oh,
but
okay.
Okay, good enough.
I'll admit though, last year at DragonCon, when we were playing a really weird modified version of Paranoia, I chose like Charisma as my main stat, and there was one point where one of the players got assigned to hand out weapons to all the player characters, and I got online twice. And the other player, when it came through the second time, the player's like, "Did I give you something?" No. You're thinking of the other guy who kind of looks like me.
He went through earlier. That's funny.
Deception.
I like that. That's a really good. So okay, so that does fit
got
this
more
kind of
stuff.
theme here. So
Yeah.
No.
this character, you're going to start with the stat block of the Green Hag. You'll lose the Amphibious, the Spellless, the Dark Vision, and the Fey creature type. What you're going to do is you're going to give it your own spell list, which is going to have at will, minor illusion, and thaumaturgy for creating, deceptive
Yeah.
illusions, things to hide behind. And once a day each, the agent of treachery can cast Crown of Madness and Suggestion.
Not bad. Okay.
So the claws will become a longsword, and they get a special reaction called when an agent of treachery is hit with a ranged attack, it can use its reaction to command any creature charmed by it to immediately use its reaction to move up to half its speed and make one weapon attack, adding 1d4 to the attack roll. Now,
pretty good.
It's important to know that under normal charm conditions, you can't do this. The charm conditions specifically say they will not enter harm's way for you. This character breaks that limitation, and I think that's why it makes it interesting. First of all, the Crown of Madness makes it attack pretty much anybody and become your ally, but the Suggestion makes it your ally. And the two together can have half the party fighting against each other if they fail their saves.
Yeah.
Making it a very deadly fight in some cases, especially if both of those players and the agent of treachery gang up on a single person. So
For sure.
it's definitely dangerous. While it still falls within like the CR ratings, the fact that it can potentially manipulate other people makes it that much stronger.
And it doesn't always have to be just one anyway. There can always be more. And and when you
that's
start adding that kind of problem in, that's when stuff starts to get real scary for the players. Because, like, just one of these would cause a lot of havoc. But imagine, like, what if there was, like, a planned meeting and you figure out then...
like 4 of them jump out
Yeah,
at once.
exactly. Like, you figure out, oh, shit, that was an agent of treachery. And now there's 3 more because they all just came from the fucking shadows. Suddenly you're at a very, very serious disadvantage, and there could be, like,
You've been on the end of this, haven't you? I've had your characters mind control before.
You've mind controlled me before, and my 2 boys were unfortunately very weak at the time. And I was a champion fighter underwater.
It was bad.
What if, like, for the reaction, the way that you decide to roleplay it is he yells, "Traitor!" playing at the player characters. And there's more guys around. How will they react to that?
That's interesting. I like that. You can sow so much confusion with this. What's interesting though is because it has abilities like minor illusion, if it successfully controls 2 people or even 1, it can easily go hide somewhere and just wait for that to resolve itself. So I don't know. It's definitely...
And even then, like, it could use minor illusion to make it seem like the agent is being attacked by something.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of ways you can run with this, and that's kind of the intent, I would imagine, because, like, it by itself, it's not inherently strong.
Or use minor illusion to frame
Yeah,
the
by
players for doing
itself,
something.
it's not super strong, but as soon as it
No.
controls people,
Yep.
it is. What's that?
Or frame the players for doing something that they didn't do with minor illusion.
Like maybe like there's a body like it made or something.
Yeah, I don't
Something
know.
like that,
dude.
or
I can
like
see us going
something,
places.
or like it makes like a coin purse disappear, because it just creates the illusion that it doesn't exist. I don't even know if you can even do that with minor illusion. Can you?
There's limitations, but it can do a lot. But the images don't move or anything. So
Right? Could you make an illusion of
Within
something
5 feet.
disappearing?
yeah, I think you
To a
could
degree,
bend
yeah.
light around
To
it
a degree,
probably.
yeah. Okay. So yeah, you could
or
do
make
some
a copy of
real...
the image of what's behind it right in front
Exactly,
of it. Something
right.
Like that.
Yeah.
I mean, people would see through it pretty quickly, but it could buy you a couple rounds.
Very
So-
scary stuff.
Anyways, I think that'll do it for our monster variant, the Agent of Treachery.
Very solid. I liked that one a lot.
Yeah, I had fun building that one. Austin, would you like to take our encounter of the podcast? You want me to, and you can take the magic item since that's so much shorter.
I don't mind either one. It's fine. I'll take the encounter.
Sure.
So this one is called Twisted and Deformed. Auric Fireforge, a male dwarf guard, is seeking adventurers to investigate the recent increase in twisted and deformed monstrosities coming from...
Sorry, I did.
That's
my
okay.
bad.
Coming from Forge Valley, a common passage between his town of Durnatel and the rest of the kingdom. He informs the characters that there have been a steady increase in calls to deal with these disgusting beasts, as he calls them, in air quotes. It has kept him and his contingent too busy to properly defend the town, chasing them into the valley caverns to finish them off. The caverns litter the valley, though, and more are spotted than he's managed to slay. He requests that the characters find the source of the ugly things and kill the last of them. And kill every last one of them! That's a Fire Emblem 3 Houses reference. When the characters investigate the area, a successful DC 14 Wisdom survival check reveals that the tracks of some sort of giant with footprints that are disfigured, which is kind of interesting in its own right. Into the caverns, the characters discover the corpses of mangled and dismembered humanoid monstrosities. A successful DC 16 Intelligence investigation check reveals the deformed dead are dressed in a variety of garments. Many are that of merchants, travelers, and farmers. A successful DC 18 Intelligence Arcana check reveals the subtle clues to a powerful Fey curse cast upon the victims. An elf character immediately recognizes the curse is of a result of the battle with the Femorians. A Femorian stalks the characters, attempting to ambush them with its Curse of the Evil Eye at the best opportunity. It stumbled upon the caverns and discovered its rich source of food wander through... What?
I will fix that for you. Wandering.
It stumbled upon the cavern and discovered its rich source of food wandering through the twisting valley at the cavern's center.
Ooh. What do you guys think about this?
I like the use of the Fae being involved.
Yeah, the Femorian,
I'm not...
really quick, the Femorian was actually like a group of like elf type Fey creatures
I did not
that
know
ended
that.
up in a war with the elves, and they got this nasty ass curse placed upon them, and disfigured them and shit, and made it really bad for business. But what's cool is they've got an ability that when they hit somebody with it, it disfigures them. Why won't that show up over there?
Really?
Yeah. I'll try to pull this up really quick so we can see it.
Okay.
But it's not. There we go. So the ability is called Evil Eye, I think. So it's got two. Curse of the Evil Eye. It recharges on a short or long rest, and with a stare, the Femorian uses Evil Eye. But on a failed save, the creature is also cursed with a magical deformities. While deformed, the creature has its speed halved and is disadvantaged on ability checks, saving throws, attack rolls based on strength or attacks. The transformed creature can repeat the saving throw whenever it finishes a long rest, ending in the effect.
That is very debilitating.
So now knowing that... And the captain here has said that he is slaying all these monsters. What does that actually entail?
It probably means that it's a bunch of like regular people being disformed by this thing. That is very cool.
Yeah, and
I like that a lot.
Yeah, and this actually came out of me actually reading the monsters like lore and stuff, and looking at its ability. I was like, what would happen if somebody slayed all the because that's what adventurers do. They kill monsters.
No, for sure.
It doesn't matter if the monster says, I'm innocent, I didn't do anything, I'm not a monster. They're still going to do what?
are gonna kill it.
Yeah.
That's their job.
And
That's what
so
they signed up for.
as you're working your way through, and as a DM, you could easily toss in some of these for them to kill on the way in.
Yep.
Oh, for sure.
While they're hunting it.
Yeah.
And then now you have this kind of look back when you bring this information, you slay the Femorian, you now realize that all the people that died were just normal people that were passing through this valley that got changed. And I mean, how is that going to make the people in the town feel?
I was
as
just
well as the
about
adventurers?
So, as a player, running a character for this, I, as a character, would, at least as a player myself, and if I was running like Raven or something, I would understand that this would cause a lot of fucking turmoil if I just said, hey, all these things that we just killed are people. And also, we have a player in our group, specifically Matt, who is usually not too fond of killing innocent people. Me, on the other hand, it's like, hey, you know, shit happens.
Right.
Sorry.
I mean, in this case, it is an accident,
and it is, yes,
right?
it is an accident. And I think at the time you figure this out, you have, I think, two stances you can probably take. You can take either, you can tell them the truth and say, like, you know what? That was a bunch of people we just killed. We got to move on from it, but the problem is over. It was a Femorian. We killed it. It's done. The other thing you could say is you could probably make like a deception check, and you could lie saying that we have ended the curse and that all these monsters have fallen, and that way you can at least save the town from all the turmoil that just occurred, and now everyone can live these peaceful lives. Because that's the thing, right? How do you come out of this? Do you win by making sure that you honor those who have died, or do you try and keep all those who are living to live the same lives that they are trying to live?
Yeah, because how are they going to feel knowing that they were responsible for wiping out all these people?
Exactly.
That were,
And it's harder in D&D because death is not permanent.
for most people it is, but for adventurers, not so much. You're
Potentially.
Right. Yeah, because I don't know if you know what's involved in bringing somebody back to life, but it's not cheap. So that's one of the things, that's a whole nother discussion we need to have. But you're right, it's more of an inconvenience, especially for powerful characters and NPCs.
The part where you mentioned of like the twisted creatures being probably innocent villagers made me think of back when crap was good. They made that article one time of effed up stuff in kids shows. And one of them was a French fantasy adventure series where the characters were going through a dungeon, they were hungry, and they randomly came across a pig who seemed happy to see them, only for the scene to cut to them suddenly eating said pig who was roasting over a campfire. Later in the episode, they get hit by a gas that turned the group into pigs.
Wow.
Damn.
That's pretty on the nose.
What show is that?
I forget.
Just some French
From Kid Show.
French
Wow,
kids
that's
show. Yeah.
savage.
Not how they don't go out their way to mention any of this, but anybody who puts two and two can go, wait a
Figures it
second.
out.
Yeah.
Overall, what do you guys think about this encounter?
Very good. Again, I really like the whole.
Got a shirt moral ambiguity.
Yeah, we at this table love moral ambiguity. If you don't, you're at the wrong place.
Are we the bad guys?
Dude, I think so. I don't want to be the bad guy. Repent!
I've already made peace with my god. You gotta make peace with yours. I'm gonna tell the guy. No, we don't tell him. What about the people who are alive? We can't do that.
Oh, that's funny.
Pray to your god. I'm gonna figure it out.
Yeah. I realize now I read that class feature back wrong for the ability. It lets somebody under control move. I changed it. I remember now. That's okay.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yep.
All right. So, encounter of a podcast is Twisted and Deformed.
Pretty good.
Yep.
I really liked that one.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun coming up with these.
I want to do the magic item.
Fine, go ahead.
I like magic items.
It's all yours then.
Yay!
Tell us about the magic
Enchantment?
item, Austin.
I like spelly, magic-y stuff.
Boom.
The magic item is the Sword of Mind and Body, a unique weapon with mirrored twin blades. One, an emerald green, and the other as blue as the sky. Very cool. I like twin blades. That's kind of cool. It's a weapon. It's a sword, and it's very rare. It requires attunement. You gain a +2 to attack and damage rolls made with this weapon. While attuned to this weapon, you have resistance to poison and psychic damage. When you hit a creature with this weapon that is under a magical effect, any spell of 3rd level or lower on the target ends. Ooh, that's kind of interesting, and I have a reason as to why. As an action, you can use this weapon to cast Mordenkainen's Faithful Hound. You cannot use this feature again until next turn. It's a little bit of an interesting spell to add to that. I'm not really sure what it does.
It summons an invisible hound of just death and destruction that eats people.
On a weapon that's called Sword of Mind and Body?
Yeah, honestly, the original creation was inspired by the Sword of Body and Mind from Magic the Gathering, which lets you spew out wolves when you attack when you hit people.
What does that have to do with mine? You know what? That's fine. It is what it is.
The art is dope as hell, though.
Faithful Hound. Ooh, this is a 4th level spell.
Wow.
Yeah, it's strong. So
it's just I think I've seen, yeah. I mean, it's cool. It does look really pretty.
But the card, it does damage. It buffs a creature, makes them stronger, 2+2, and gives you protection from green and blue. And then whenever it deals damage to a player, you create a wolf. So I'm like, all right, I can make that.
Sure. Okay.
I had to give it a different name though, so WotC doesn't send their lawyers.
Yeah,
after
so you
me.
just switched my body and mind to mind and body.
I was like, I'm gonna count it.
Why not?
So yeah, so it gives you increased bonus attack and damage +2, making it very rare. Actually, I think that's the rare, and then the other abilities make it even rarer than that. The resistance to poison and psychic damage. I almost made you immune, but I decided that was going to be too strong.
Yeah, immune to psychic damage is pretty crazy.
Yeah, so resistance was good.
Not that psychic comes up too much, but...
And then the big thing is the Dispel feature.
Yes.
Yeah.
It basically has Dispel on the weapon for when you hit somebody that's under a magical effect.
I was thinking about this, and I was like, what if you were under a magical effect, and you just take the sword, and you just fucking cut yourself with it?
If it's under 3rd level or lower, it'll end. Now, it's not as strong as Dispel.
Right. Now, how would you rule it? Would you just say, like, do a weapon attack on yourself? Or...
Weapon damage. You wouldn't do attack. I just roll damage. You're not going to miss yourself.
I mean, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
but yeah, you would take damage. But in some cases, you've seen that in shows where somebody's under some sort of effect and they bite themselves or they stab themselves to break free of it. That's very much what this is going for. But specifically, this was designed to target things like mage armor and spells that generate like temporary hit points or barriers and stuff. It just kind of cuts right through this. Yeah, it gets rid of them. Now that's assuming that they're weaker spells, 3rd level or lower. So and then of course summoning Mordenkainen's Faithful Hound, which I think you looked up.
Yep. You summon a hound that can't be seen or harmed. It can see into the ethereal plane, and it can walk around and deal damage to enemies.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
Yes, I have my invisible pet right here. Huh?
Oh.
I can't believe it. Oh my god, I heard it.
You ever see Supernatural?
Yep, the Hellhounds.
The Hellhounds,
Yeah,
very
the
much
Hounds.
like that.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
Mine's bigger.
Crowley, right?
Yep.
I really like this magic item. I've been doing a lot of the posts of I'm posting Magic the Gathering cards on the Twitter and the Facebook, and then asking everyone help me to build them. And so this kind of came out of that.
It seems to work. I mean, I like it. It's not a very complicated item. It just works. And that's
how
good.
I like it.
Yeah, and that's
I'm
good.
a simple man.
We don't need a staff of power. We just need a sword that says it does more damage and makes me safe.
That's funny.
Yep, I had a look at that quote with Crowley from Supernatural when some of those hellhounds offend people. Well, you can go on 10 years living or 10 years as elbow.
I think that'll do it for our magic item, the Sword of Mind and Body.
Pretty good.
Ian, would you like to tell us about our I need to do one. No, well, yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Ian. Do it. Okay, I got it. Our Dungeon Master tip is a magical world. When building your world, if you're wanting it to feel magical, consider allowing magical effects to be used to achieve mundane tasks, such as a bartender/servant using Mage Hand spell to deliver drinks or meals to the tavern.
Absolutely.
While visiting a noble's house, the character spot a magical broom that sweeps and cleans on its own. You know, spotting random stuff floating around might be pretty common, as many people use Unseen Servant spell to handle deliveries or shopping. Whatever the case may be, in the worlds, towns, and cities, or mage towers, in a world with those, D&D is a magical place. So if you want to make it feel that way, little things like this will give it that magical sparks.
Makes it feel more believable.
Yeah.
The two things that immediately came to mind with those examples is like some guy walking through town looking for like a cart to come by and mud over him. Really? Precipitation.
It's funny because that could be a really good thing. There could be a wizard who just is weak and opens a laundromat. People just come through, clean, 6 copper, clean, 6 copper, clean, 6 copper.
Or the chef inside the restaurant is also a wizard who uses precipitation to flavor his food.
To make his stuff taste really good.
Or to clean the dishes.
Yes.
Oh shit, that's good.
He goes, all right, it's clean.
I like that.
Yeah, he's just shooting him off like, oh god, I gotta do all this again.
I like that. That's fun. So there's so much you can do in a world full of magic. Just thinking about the basics spells that are available.
Or even like you can even replace like generators to be like giant magic crystals or stuff like that, right? So you don't even need electricity in this world. While it certainly exists, you could say like this light bulb that's here is not actually powered by electricity. It's just powered by the magical ethereal crystal that's right down the road.
I like that. So one crystal that generates power that emanates out to all of them wirelessly and lights every. So you go. So in the Aragon series, the dwarves, they have the floating lanterns that are powered by magic. You have the Continual Flame in D&D. That's pretty much what it is. You have a continual magical light. Now usually we only talk about those in dungeons, but why wouldn't it be somewhere else? Like you're saying, you've got one little thing that generates power that runs all these continual flame spells that lights the whole city. The city that never sleeps is because it's got something boosting and constantly casting the never-ending light stuff. So this is a real simple one. I had thought we had talked about something similar before, but I couldn't find it in any of the official tips, so I tossed it in here. We'll see.
I do like it. It's definitely something that you don't normally think about.
Right.
But it is something that adds a lot more to the world that you're being a part of. It might actually help players think a little more outside the box when it comes to like either like a rogue trying to steal stuff from people, because now it has to think like, how the fuck am I gonna get this box from a floating figure I can't see, or you know.
That's funny.
Or for that matter, this may or may not come into effect depending on how high a magic your world is or how common it is, or it could just be a location by location basis.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing too.
Yeah, I mean, if you're normally in little towns without anything going on, but then you walk into a wizard's tower and there's a broom,
like Candlekeep.
Yeah, and there's brooms sweeping and mopping all on their own, like out of Fantasia. You know, that makes it feel like a more that it reminds you that you're in a magical world and that there are places where this is more common. So I know in Eberron, that's how Eberron is. Eberron's is there's magic everywhere. It's everywhere. There's everyone and their mother can cast. Yeah, everyone and their mother can cast a spell.
Or shoot, even just going on a edition by edition basis, where look how I feel like, relatively speaking, going by most adventures or by the rules, how hard magical items are to come by in general. Or if back in 4th Ed, or even 3.5, insert golden vending machine.
What?
It's not exact. I'm just saying they were way more common or obtainable.
Right. That's funny. And that's how 4th edition was quite a bit, too.
Yep.
All right, so that'll do it for our Dungeon Master tip, A Magical World.
Yeah.
Our player tip of the podcast is
Don't be a dick.
And you can avoid dickitude by listening to Gabe Kleiner. Because he submitted this to me after I did the post, it is in this episode instead of the one he was in last week.
Yeah.
Go along with what the DM tells you. Sometimes when you're in the middle of a session, the DM might have something happen that involves your character with or without your knowledge.
Dun, dun, dun.
Maybe you were replaced with a doppelganger, and you've unknowingly failed to save against the Dominate spell. Or someone is using ventriloquism to sound like you while you're separated from the group. If the DM tells the rest of the party that your character does something, your gut reaction may be to interject, I wouldn't do that. No. This is a natural reaction. Your agency as a player is one of the most important aspects of the game. However, sometimes the DM is trying to do something and they need your cooperation. It would be best if they told you ahead of time or somehow explained to you what they were doing, but that's not always an option and not always going to happen. So the lesson is trust your DM. If they say your character does something, try to go along with it. And if it does get so out of control, pull them aside and talk about it before continuing. They may have more to it, and it really isn't going to pull your agency. You're under effect like this. But try not to do the knee-jerk reaction of, I'm not going to do that shit.
Right.
And try to interrupt it. Because that's something that I've come across that's a challenge. If you if Austin went out, took his ranger out and did some hunting for food and got jumped by a doppelganger, well, if I just say that at the table, everybody knows, and it makes it less believable for them to trust you. They know something happened. If I roll,
behind the screen,
okay, he's going to get jumped. All right. I'm going to have to change his persona a little bit. And then you come back with your food, right? Because doppelgangers can read your mind and they know everything.
For sure. Yeah.
And he might DM might nudge you a little bit, saying, "Hey, you behaved this way," and you're just like, "What the hell? No, I didn't do that." Just sometimes you have to trust your DM. Now, some DMs suck. That's part of life. Not everyone's great. But if you are that concerned about it, say, "Hey, can we take a minute and talk before you go for it?" Because there might be something there. But at the very least, if you're chill, just roll with it.
Even something as simple as like a little like text message or like a note would even work as well too. Saying like, you rolled and you go on with the plot at hand. You like write down a little note as you're like explaining. You know, like, oh, you're hunting, you're gathering for food. Things seem pretty uneventful. You kind of grab everything as you're writing. You know, you got fucking jumped by a doppelganger. This is you now. And you hand them the note.
I like that. That's funny.
That's what I would do, because that would be that would be pretty good. That would be fun. I would like that if you did that to me, because that'd be hilarious.
I think we even
you guys heard it.
Yep. I think we even mentioned this.
Could you imagine Zorax coming back? Hey guys, I really missed you guys. That's not Zorax.
This actually made me think of how I think we mentioned this last week about how even the reverse is true too, where a players might message the DM over Messenger, "I want to do this. Can you make this happen?"
Make it happen. Captain.
Or even something like laugh suspiciously.
Yep.
What the?
Yeah.
In that case, I was thinking about when like Brandon used to say self on himself and messaged me, "Here's what I'm going to do," but you would not have bought it if he did it.
Right? Yeah. If he would have just said that, I'd been like, "Oh, I'm not gonna fall for that." It's hard. Then this is where I think Gabe was going with, because we talked metagaming. It's hard to not unknow what you know.
Yes.
And if Brandon had just turned and said, "I'm gonna do this," I'm gonna be like, "But no." Instead, I had no effing clue as a player.
It was glorious.
Yeah, I imagine it was for you guys. I was devastated. I thought the whole day I was talking smack. I had it in the bag. I knew exactly how I was gonna beat everybody. I thought I won. And then I died.
Flop trash.
Anyways,
but honestly, I'm not sure how I could have executed that any other way. And
no, that was done. I'm grumpy about it, but it was good.
And I think that's why he's grumpy about it.
Because it was good. That'll do it for our player tip of the podcast.
Don't be a dick.
And you can avoid dickitude by going along with what the DM tells you, even when you don't know what the hell's going on.
Sometimes that creates probably the best moments, honestly.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Please join us in our next episode. We're going to be discussing Challenge Accepted.
Woo!
We've talked about the release of this product. If you haven't picked it up, we're going to be talking Challenge Accepted 2. We're going to pull in some examples. We're going to help kind of shed some light on more on skill challenges, and hopefully give you guys some stuff you can take away. So even if you don't end up picking up the product, you still got a couple options you can toss into your game.
Yep.
In the meantime, I got to get my hands on Ryman the Frost Maiden. So.
Oh, yeah, that's at the store. I can get that.
You should pick that up for me.
Yeah, I can get that on Monday. I'll get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
If you have any feedback, unearthed tips and tricks, or topics you'd like us to discuss, please send them to us. You can email them to us at critacademy@gmail.com or find us on Twitter and Facebook at Critacademy. We just hit 5,000 followers, so let's go for 6.
Yes.
Or higher. I mean, we can always aim higher.
I would always like to go bigger.
I'd say go
Size
for $1 million.
matters.
We're gonna get 7 million followers on Facebook.
But in the meantime, let's go for over 9,000.
Oh, dude. I will.
That's
When
the
we
nerd
get
goal.
that
Let's
number,
do it.
I will dress up as Vegeta and we should reenact that scene. I'll even break a cheapo scouter that I buy.
I'll be
3D print one.
That's a good idea. I'll be Nappa.
What? There's no way that could be right. Anyways.
What? But that's not weak. Oh, but it is weak. To me.
Who's that? Who's got that part?
Oh god.
Usually Austin.
No, I already did
There
my
it is,
part.
You're right here.
Oh, never mind then. We hope you enjoyed your experience here at Crit Academy. If you did, you can help others find the show by leaving a, hopefully, 5-star review on iTunes, or just send us a message telling how much you enjoyed the show. And also, be sure to give us a like and a share.
Yes, please do. Ian's been doing a really good job cropping out some of the UTTs into videos, so...
Not this past week.
Wow, I'm trying to give you credit, hoping that I'll put you up here and bring you up there with all the praise I'm giving you.
Yep.
That's what they say. You gotta
Being honest.
bring people up. He's been putting out these things for us, so definitely check them out, like, share, all that jazz.
Also, for real, don't be afraid to give us a like and a share. It is free after all, so I mean, I know we're kind of
cost you a
vulgar every
second.
once in a while, but we're not that bad, right? Oh, okay.
A patron almost made me cry the other day.
It's true.
I'll read it at the end of this. Make sure to subscribe to our show at critacademy.com. Follow us on twitch.tv/critacademy. Subscribe to us on YouTube at youtube.com/c/critacademy. So we can help you on your future adventures, as well as be entered to win cool prizes each and every single week. Make sure to check out our fellowship members as well. If you have not checked out, Jeff Stevens is one of our long-running members of our Crit Nation Fellowship. He does amazing content. We give away free stuff of his. Go check out some of his other content and pick something up that sounds like great to you. I cannot recommend enough his shit, I can't remember the name of it now. The Midnight one.
Song of the Nightingale?
No, that's the
something
one
like
we
that?
just gave away. Well,
That's
shit.
what I thought you were recommending.
Well, I always recommend that one, but he's got a couple really, really good ones that I just love. And wow, it's gonna drive me
Bust
bonkers.
through a wall and kill us.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually check because I wanna. It's JeffStevensGames.com. He's got his own website now because he's fancy.
Also, the Midnight Violet.
That's one of them, but that's not the one I was thinking. But that's the one that filled in my head. As soon as there it is. The Night of the Rise. You guys remember that one?
Was that the one where we fucking partied? Like
Yes.
Frat boys? Absolutely. That one was great.
I had steak.
All right, so anyway. Make sure to check him out. If you're not following the Kind GM on Twitter, he posts his blogs and all kinds of RPG-related content every single week, so check him out. I am your host, Justin.
I'm your co-host, Austin.
And I'm your other co-host, Ian. Thanks for listening.
Keep your blades sharp and spells prepared, heroes.
Woo!
Now, we're still live. This is a little bonus feature for you guys. I really felt this really hit me
Crit
close
Academy
at home.
After Dark.
Right. Crit Academy at night. Ooh. So, the beverage tea, I'm going to read this on air. So, shared something with me that really, really got me excited and happy. I woke up the other day and it says, seriously, I have been listening since near the beginning, and I have to say, the Crit Academy is the most enjoyable and prolific team of D&D creators and commentators. In a Mercer versus Hanlon match, I'm Team Hanlon.
Wow.
Now, I love Matt Mercer, so to be compared
Yes,
to
that's
that,
like a
Positively.
yes, is just an amazing thing that nearly brought me to tears. So, the beverage tea, man, you're awesome. I mean, we get emails and comments and stuff or of, I love the show, your content's great, all that stuff, but to be compared with somebody who I look up to, really was an amazing, it was an honor to be even compared to Matt Mercer. Now,
also, an enjoyable and prolific team of D&D creators. Are we sure we're on the right?
yeah,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure on this one.
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, to see that really just brought tears to my eyes, and I just wanted to say thank you very much. No matter who you are, kind words go a long way, especially when there's so much work that goes into this. I know it just looks like we just sit and talk Dungeons and Dragons all day, which
Two of us do.
which is kind of what we do, but there is a lot of work that goes into it, and it's appreciated when somebody recognizes that. So thank you very much.
I think what really helps out our show a lot is the fact we have 3 people here, and we all look at this game very differently.
Yes.
So you have like a very DM perspective on it all, whereas
In the right perspective.
yeah, and the right perspective apparently. Whereas like I'm kind of like that newcomer player. Who has only started fairly recent? Well, I say recently, but it's been about 2 years now.
been a couple
It's been a couple
years
years
now,
now.
Just two.
Yeah, just two. And whereas Ian has been a long time player, and he's definitely been around.
Yeah,
for a while.
I think that's also part of it. I mean, our lineup has changed a little bit, but it doesn't matter who's in these seats. The way we all play and the way we approach the game is always different, and that's one of the reasons why when I started this, I wanted it to be more than just me. Because I listen to shows that are just just one person, like Taking 20. That guy is just himself talking, and that's great. But you're only really hearing that person's opinion as opposed to a discussion format. And I think what comes out of this is that it is more of a natural, a bunch of friends sitting around a table talking and giving their thoughts on something we all wish we had the time to sit and do every day we had a game.
Every day, yeah.
But we don't. So we try to bring that to your ear hole. So
If there was a way to turn this to a full-time job that was consistent. And
working on it, man. I really, really am.
I know.
Very much. So, all right. The best way to do that is to subscribe to us at YouTube, become a patron, all that stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, or following us on Facebook even, and spreading the word.
Yeah, that's
honestly the biggest thing you can do is just spread the word.
Tell people.
It's really baffling how much that would help.
Word of mouth goes a long way.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. We'll see you guys later.
Yup.
Bye.
Bye-bye.